flows and shows and the fan page grows. So I'm switching my mode. I'm just zone, we getting on, bro. Practice makes perfect, but practice since I was 15. Working on my rhythm, I'm rapping my best. I'm 16 and often I'm tired out. And I want to pick you, but it's the passion that makes me different. And give it a thing in a different route, so yo, we getting the best of me. A direct scheme and steadily. When they get to work and work hard, can't get ahead of me. Hey. All right, I need all the boys in the room to make as much noise as you can. Let me hear you, boys.
Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah!
Where my girls at? Everybody now! Let's go! Already shine bright, I don't need the limelight. Yeah, and I'm in love with this life, cause everything feels so right. Somebody say, holla if you hear me. Already shine bright, don't need the limelight. Holla if you hear me. Hey, and I'm in love with this life, cause everything. One time. I never gave up on my goals, cause even when I was hated on it, you can talk all you want. My job is to keep proving you wrong. Now there's students living his dream, getting everything he needs, and all this culture achieve. Another one is complete, improving progress every time I rap it, it's time for a change. I still got dues to pay, and I'm living this life day by day. Man, I face a couple obstacles, but then I got through the songs and let the rainbow shine, and let the rain pour more and more. The sun is shining, beautiful picture, perfect moment to say. And now my journey just begun, and I'm back up on my way. Take a love to learn, take a love to say, so every day when I get up, but I better know that yesterday is fake. This is my life. Some people say that I'm different, but I'd rather be different than planning to be hidden. I'll be the voice of the silence or the quiet won't be heard. I'll be the different speaker, so the last to be first. Let's go. Shine bright, don't need the limelight. Everybody put your hands up. Somebody say hi if you hear me. Alright, let's go. Hey, hey. And I'm in love with this life, cause everything feels so right.
Daniel.
Have you ever wondered, why are we the most stressed out and anxious generation?
I know.
Maybe it's because our entire foundation is wrong.
Okay.
Like a rocket launching off a crooked launching pad, maybe we're launching ourselves into a life that's missing what's really important. Since you were a child, people have been asking you, what do you want to do when you grow up? But no one ever asks, who do you want to become? We are more concerned with the job we'll have and the money we'll make than the love that we'll share with the people around us. When you think about the word success, what does it mean? If you were to go online and look up synonyms for the word success, you'd find words like fame, profit, prosperity, wealth. We spend so much time trying to achieve these goals. Being cool, being popular, having the right things, trying to prove our worth to the people around us. But research has shown that these things do not make us happy. And we are stressed out under the pressure of trying to achieve things that don't actually help us. $220 billion are spent on advertising in North America every year, trying to convince you that the good life can be found through the goods life, that in order to be, you must buy. The famous actor and comedian Jim Carrey once said, I think everyone should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so that they can see it's not the answer. So is there a better way?
Probably.
Hey guys, so my name is Stuart and you guys have been watching some of our videos and listening to some of our music, but we're also going to be sharing with you guys a little bit about our own life stories. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my childhood, but first I have a question. Who in here, like me, loves movies? Yeah? A bunch of movie lovers out there. So there's this movie, it's actually a pretty dope movie, it's called The Steel Brigade. And it's about these kids in the Philippines, and they were in a gang. There was a scene where they came up to this big fenced-in junkyard, and in the middle is a truck, and it's full of steel. And it was guarded by this big rabid pit bull, and what these kids did was go up to the fence and split into two groups. One group made a bunch of noise to distract the dog, while the other group jumped over the fence, got into the truck, and stole the metal. Then they'd take the metal, they'd go and sell it for a little bit of cash, go to the store, buy some glue, stand around in a circle and sniff it to get high. Sometimes they even had these little kids beat each other up just for fun. Has anyone seen that movie before? It's called Steel Brigade. Ha, good. Well, because it's a trick question. The truth is, the Steel Brigade is actually not a real movie. It's actually my life. You see, I grew up in the Philippines where I was born into a poor family. And I was in a gang by the time I was 8 years old. And I was that kid who had to jump over that fence and run to that truck, trying not to get bit by the dog. And I was that kid who had to beat up other kids just to feel accepted by my friends. And I felt like I needed acceptance from them because I never felt accepted at home. See, my dad, he was always drunk and angry and always yelling. And my mom, she was always stressed out about the house, about money, about life, and my parents would always take it out on me. See, most of my childhood, I was physically abused, and I was emotionally tortured. And this went on for many years in my life. And this was until when I was about 9. My parents got a job at the school, and they began working as teachers, and they met this couple who was also teaching, and this couple would begin to invite my parents out for supper, to play cards, to drink coffee, and soon they became very good friends, and this couple would soon begin to teach my parents about love, about compassion, and this was something that my parents had never really learned before. And so my parents, after becoming such good friends with this couple, they began to realize that they had been living a life so focused on money when they should have been living a life focused on loving their family. And so, with the help of their new friends, my parents, they began to change. They began to show me more love. They began to come home and hug me more. And they even started taking me out to KFC and to eat chicken and talk about life. And my parents, they just wanted to start over. They just wanted to, erase all the pain in the past. And despite all this, I didn't want any of it. After all the years of the abuse, of the pain, I just wasn't ready to forgive my parents. And the truth was, I hated my parents. I hated them so much that I couldn't forgive them. And I carried this anger, this hate for a very long time, until when I was 15, my parents got this opportunity to move to our dream country, Canada. Now, we moved to a small town in Manitoba, where there was about 15 kids in my class. And it became very easy for me to put on this mask and pretend that everything was good, that everything was all right, that nothing was wrong. And over the years in my high school, I began to hurt people. And I realized that I began to push people away because I believed under the mask that nobody loved me, that nobody really cared for me, and that I was alone. And so, this mask soon became so heavy and so exhausting that I reached a point where I finally told myself that, I'm tired and I don't want to live anymore. I remember that night, typing out a message on my phone, a message that said goodbye to all the people that I knew. I hit send, turned off the lights, and lay down on my bed. And as I lay there, I just began to think about the pain, about my past, about my life. and how I got to this place that I had just given up. And as I lay there, just waiting for the right time to leave this world, I suddenly hear this noise. This noise from outside the house. I could hear it through my window, and it was this police car racing down my driveway. And it turns out that one of my friends had called the police, that they were here to stop me. And so I ran to the door, just trying to escape because I didn't want to wake up the next morning. Because I didn't want to wake up and go through that pain. I didn't want to go to school and pretend that everything was okay. So I ran as fast as I could because this life isn't worth living, is what I told myself. But when I got to the door, 2 policemen grabbed me by the arms. And as I turned around, I saw my parents, and they were crying. They were so confused. And for the first time, I took off my mask and told them the truth about what I really felt, that I was hurting, and that I was in so much pain because of what happened when I was younger. And so my parents, a few days later, they drove me to this treatment center. You know, it was only a few weeks after Christmas. It was a time where everyone was supposed to be happy. It was a time where, you know, families came together, you know, to show love and to have fun. But in that moment, in that treatment center, there was just so much pain. And my parents, before leaving me, they handed me a bunch of letters, some cards that some people had given to me. They hugged me and then they left. And that night, I sat down on my small hospital bed and I began to read those letters. And the first one was from my family back in the Philippines. It was from my aunt. And she said, "Stuart, this letter is to let you know that I love you so much and that I care for you and that I know what you're going through and I'm here for you." Then I opened another letter, and this one was from my friend in my class. And she said, "Stuart, I'm so happy that you're alive today. I'm so happy that you can still be in my life because I love you and that you're my friend and I can't bear the thought of losing you." And then I opened the last letter, and this one was from my parents. And started reading the letters, or the letter, and my parents, they began to apologize. They began to say sorry for the abuse, for the childhood that I had lost. And as I read these letters over and over again, I just felt so much love. And I began to cry like I've never cried before. And from that moment, I was beginning to change too. A few days later, I met up with these kids in that treatment center. You know, we were all in that treatment center for a reason. You know, we were all fighting our own battles. We were all facing our own struggles, but together we realized that hope was real, and it was found in that love and that friendship that we had for each other. And we realized that we weren't alone, and that there were people out there who loved us and cared for us so much. And as I went home, I remember telling my parents for the first time that I really meant it. I love you. And, you know, I've learned in life that sometimes life can be like a movie, made up of so many different scenes. And maybe right now you're living a scene where everything's going good and nothing's really wrong. Or maybe you're living a scene where everything just seems so dark and hopeless. And there are scenes that'll make you laugh, that'll make you cry, that'll make you feel so scared. But it doesn't matter, because I'm here to tell you that your movie's not over yet. Just keep watching, because in the end, if you allow it, all these scenes, they'll come together to create a beautiful masterpiece, which is your life and your story. Thanks, guys.
Big truck. Wheels.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Great.
One more time, let me hear you. How are you guys doing?
Great. Holy crap, you deaf?
Awesome. Good. We are so glad to be here and glad you're here with us. I have a little experiment we'd like to do with you now. And I need help from one of your teachers. Yes.
Davis.
Who can we have help us? What's their name? Can you suggest a teacher? Ready. One at a time. Who do you, no, I'm just kidding. Yell it out one more time, nice and loud. What's their name? Anyone else hear that? I don't know. Mr. Pickle, is that what you said?
Mr. Pickle.
Can you, wait. I can't hear any of you. Can you point to them? Where are they? I see one right here, so that's what I'm gonna call. Can you welcome as they come to the stage? Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much. I'll find out your name as you make your way up here. It was so hard to hear you guys, but I appreciate the energy and enthusiasm. All right. Welcome. What's your name? Miss Kama. Miss Kama. All right. Give her a round of applause one more time. Thank you very much. All right, so come on over here. So, Miss Kama, I have a few questions that I ask you, really easy. All you have to do is answer them, and as soon as you're done, you win yourself a jelly bean. How does that sound? Sounds good. Awesome. Okay. So, the first question I have for you here is this. This is a crisp, brand new $100 bill. Still smells like maple. Tastes like maple. And I have a question. How much do you think this is worth? $100. That's right. Give it a round of applause. Congratulations. That was a test question, though, so you didn't put a jelly bean, okay? All right. So, but watch this very carefully. Everyone, keep your eyeballs on this right over here, okay? Watch what I'm gonna do. All right. You suck. No one likes you. I don't even think you have any friends. I don't even want to be your friend. Don't even look at me or talk to me at school, after school, at lunch, anytime at all. Don't even look at my friends either. I don't like you. So, Mrs. Como, I just told this $100 bill what I really think. I don't like it. I don't want to hang out with it. I don't think it's cool at all. How much would you say this $100 bill is worth now that I'm done telling it what I really think? $100. Congratulations, give her a round of applause.
Hey.
You want yourself a jelly bean, okay? Which you can't have just yet. I'm gonna put it right over here. I actually have a few more questions for you, okay? So, the next one I have, I'm gonna use this super duper fancy, sparkly, top of the line purse. And I'm gonna take the $100 and put it in the purse, okay? We're gonna hang out together. Can you hang out just for 1 second? I'm gonna go hang out with my super fancy, sparkly purse friends as well, okay? And we're gonna strut together all over the place, all together, strut around, and be super cool and sparkly and awesome. Ooh, take a picture, put it on everything. Thank you very much. All right, so, Mrs. Como, I just finished hanging out with my super fancy friends and my super sparkly purse, and now, I have a question. How much would you say this $100 bill is worth now that I'm done being super fancy and sparkly and awesome? What do you think? $100.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you won yourself another jelly bean. You can look at, but you can't touch, okay? So, we're over here because I have one more question for you. And what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to give you the microphone and I'm going to this lovely group of people what you would do with an extra $100, okay? So, just take it and then just tell them. All right, thank you very much. All right, thank you so much. So what we just did is we took a nice picture. picture of this $100 bill. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw some nice filters on this guy right here. Do you have Instagrams and Snapchats? Do you know what that is? Anyone here for the big hand? Do you have Instagram and Snapchats? Okay, cool. So you know what some filters are. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add some filters, make it super nice and fancy, maybe a little retro, add maybe a dog filter. And I'm gonna throw this up on Instagram, okay? But first, I'm gonna throw it to the back table too. Guys, did you get that back there? Can you throw it up on the screens for us here? Bam! Take a look at that. Ooh.
Oh my God.
I would call that a piece of art. What do you think? Thank you. I agree, and everyone else will agree as well. So they're gonna like it. They're gonna share it.
Like the
It's gonna be
picture?
Insta famous, okay? And so now that I am done being super Insta famous, come on over here, Michael. What would you say this $100 bill is worth now that everyone likes us and shared our photo? What do you think? $100.
Yeah! I'll bring it up 300 right now.
You do this good. That's doing pretty awesome. Okay, so you just want yourself another jelly bean. And I know there's only three on here. I know you really want to eat them, but you can't just yet. Okay, so I actually have one thing I want to share. So what we learned, guys, with Mrs. Como is that this $100 bill, its value never changed. No matter what we did to it, we calmed it down. We told it what we really think. We don't want to be its friend. We don't want to hang out with it. We also made it super fancy and went and hang out with all of our super awesome friends and even got Insta famous. We put it up on Instagram so everyone can share and like it. But guess what? Its value never changed. No matter what we did to it, it was always worth $100. And that is the same with you guys. No matter what happens to you in your life, you are always worth a really good life. You can be called down, people can try and bully you or bring you down. You can be super awesome and have all the right stuff and be super famous even, but guess what? Your value never changes. You're not worth more or less than the person next to you. And we want you guys to remember that, okay? All right, so Mrs. Como, you have been waiting so patiently. Thank you very much. I know you're really wanting this. Did you have breakfast and lunch today?
I did, yes.
All right, so this will be like kind of dessert. Do you like jelly beans?
I do.
Oh, this is perfect. Okay, awesome. So, guys, we are gonna let her eat a jelly bean now, but guess what? These are not just any jelly beans, my friends. These are Bean Boozled jelly beans. Do you know what Bean Boozled is?
Yes!
Do you know what Bean Boozled is? Okay, so
I
for those who don't
actually
know
had
what it
the
is,
burger
it's a
one
jelly
once.
bean that looks the same, but it tastes like two different things.
I had a
Yes,
burger-
so I'll tell you the flavors we have, and I want you to help me
They
decide what you
disgusting and
should eat. Okay,
delicious.
ready? So we have juicy pear or booger, butter popcorn or rotten egg, or strawberry banana or dead fish.
Dead fish!
I'm gonna yell out one more time. You guys make some noise for the one that you want her to eat, okay? Ready? Juicy pear or booger, butter popcorn or rotten egg, or strawberry banana or dead fish. All right, have you ever eaten a dead fish before? No. Okay, awesome. So, this is perfect. So I'm gonna get you to pick that one right over there. No. Yes, that one right there. Let's help count her down, everybody. Okay, ready? 3,
2, 1!
What did you get? What did you get? Oh, she got dead fish. Give her a round of applause, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Check out this next video.
Swallow it! Yeah, dead fish.
My name is Otis, and I'm a trendsetter.
Oh!
This is my dad. He's the inventor of the fanny pack. Every night before I go to bed, I listen closely for some inspiration.
What did you
When
put?
I was dressed up boy, he taught me how to get people to buy stupid stuff. These are just some of my t-shirt designs. Oh yeah. This one says cabbage. I gave this one to Justin Bieber. Sold 150 million of them. People only feel important if they have the right stuff, and it's my job to tell them what that stuff is. This is a necklace bag. It's a hot new designer. Wonderful stuff. No baseball bat. These things are all real.
lost again and again and again. The lights are on, but you're still looking at your read, reviewing it every day and say to yourself, it's not over until I win. I know a lot of us. Some of us in this building have been doubted before, said that we can't do this or that. But from the top of your lungs, I want to hear you guys say, I'm choosing to win!
I'm choosing to win! Open your eyes like this and stare at me.
Everybody in the house, clap your hands with me.
Aye, One day, clap your hands.
Passionate person, so then I try to slow me down. Cold world, living, it goes round and around. I'm a passionate person, so yeah, try to slow me down. They say your words have so much power, it can bring life or death. Well, I'm choosing to love life until my very last breath. I can promise you that life ain't never gonna be easy. Take it step by step, and I know you can do this, so breathe, believe me. Think about the times that you failed and you made it through. Now look at the things that you've done, it's all you. 50 years of silence, couldn't take it, I was full of fear. Made a simple choice of talking, now you witnessing me here. I mean, I fail all the time, it's all a part of the journey. I know it's hard to think about what we break when the future's blurry. Living life to the fullest, you're lucky, your blessing is full away. We would go with every brother we accept what we say. Yeah, 'cause if I wanna get back, if I can't push up, everybody put your hands up. Hey, everybody put your hands up. I'm being tested, there's no way I'm choosing to.
Whoa!
Hi, my name is Hannah, and I'm an Instagram star.
Hey!
Just totally trying these out because, you know, when you look good on the outside, you gotta feel good on the inside. That's how that works. That's science. Yeah, so it's not about being perfect. It's just about making people think that you're perfect. So this is like my green screen station, because, like, I mean, why travel when you can, like, just pretend to travel? So just figuring out, like, where I should go today. I think I'm gonna go to Paris, just because I'm cultured. Oh, 100 more likes. That's good, so I can keep track of my self-worth. So this is just like my food picture-taking station.
Doritos.
Kind of like arrange things around, I'll make them look nice and pretty and stuff. I don't actually eat any of this. I mean, like, it's what people want to see, so, like, whatever, but I'm actually pretty allergic to most of it. You know, it's amazing because I have all these friends all over the world. I have so many followers. Like, how can I possibly experience crippling loneliness?
How are you guys liking the music so far? Awesome. Woo. bit more to share with you, a little bit. But right now, can I share with you guys a little bit about myself?
Yeah!
Awesome, thank you. I guess I can start off by telling you I'm engaged.
Woo!
Thank you.
Lucky!
I should also maybe mention, it kind of happened 24 years ago and I kind of sort of don't know where he is. It happened in the cutest way, okay? We were skipping kindergarten class, the huge, and he asked me to marry him. Of course, I said yes, and I couldn't wait for my dad to pick me up from school that day. I was so excited to tell him the big news. I'd be just as excited as I was. No, I don't even think my feet touched the ground. He grabbed me by the arm that day, and dragged me home, and he threw me inside the house. And he said, "Tell her what you told me." That's kindergarten, right? I'm crying. Matthew kissed me on the cheek, and he asked me to marry him. I said yes. I was bawling my eyes out. My mom, she thought it was hilarious. She thought it was so funny. But my dad, he got even more upset, more furious when he found out how funny she thought it was. As long as I can remember, I knew my dad really loved my family, really loved my mom, my brother, and myself. But as long as I can remember as well, I knew he always had a really bad temper, really, really angry. And so kind of because of that, shortly after that, my mom ended up leaving my dad. And so me and my little brother would go over to his tiny second-floor apartment he had in Winnipeg, and we'd go for visits. And when we'd go to his house, we'd play cards, or he would teach us about boxing. And I remember this one time when my mom came to pick us up. As soon as she got in the door, they started yelling at each other. They were arguing and screaming, and the next thing I know, my dad had all of us in the bedroom, and he locked the door behind him. He grabbed me and my brother in his arms, and he was arguing with my mom and begging for us all to stay. And my mom, she tried to leave, but she couldn't, so she took herself to the window, and she stuck her head out the window, and she was screaming for help. And I guess my uncle must have heard her.
Don't worry, it happens.
All the time.
Ooh. There we go. We got it. Dang. All right. Cool. Thank you. So let me bring it back for you here. See, I was in that room, and I was with my mom, and this whole thing was happening. And the next thing that I remember was my dad. He was at the door, and he was trying to hold the door closed because my uncle was trying to break in and let us out. And I remember this pain of seeing my little brother at the time. He was trying to say goodbye to my dad as two guys were holding him down on the couch. And I had this sadness of being ripped away at a time when I just didn't understand what was going on. And so shortly after that, time went on for me, and I was about 10, 11, 12 years old. And I started writing down all of these things that were happening in this little red journal that I had. And so I write about my family and my friends, and we moved schools all the time. I write about everything that had happened. But I found myself also writing about my dad. Because at this time, he stopped coming around to see us. There was arguing with my mom and him, and he chose not to come around. And I knew this, and it really hurt me. And so I wrote it all down in this journal. And so again, time moved on, and I was 13 and 14 years old, and I again moved schools almost every year. And I read about it, everything that was happening. But at this time, he started coming around and spending time with me and my brother. And so I'd go and travel the country with him for boxing. I started boxing with him and fighting. And so by the time I was 15, it was time for another update. I remember being so excited. I raced home that day and I couldn't wait. I ripped open my journal. I started writing probably 2 or 3 pages. And I even remember specifically writing, "I love my dad." And it sounds kind of silly to some people, but for me, it was a really big deal. And so I wrote it down, and I went to bed that night, so excited, so thankful that I had my dad back in my life. But it wasn't 2 days later that life changed forever for me. I had called my dad's house to see what time we were leaving because we had planned to hang out with his family. And his girlfriend answered the phone, and it sounded like she was upset upset and she wouldn't tell me why. And I kept having to ask her again and again, what's happening, what's going on? And she said, I don't think I should tell you right now, I think I should tell your mom first. But I couldn't wait that long. I asked her again, and she finally told me, she said that my dad had been arrested. And when she explained to me the reasons why, it just broke my heart. And I got off the phone and I was crying so loud, I thought the entire apartment building could hear me. And the things that happened after just made my head spin. Stories of the violence and abuse in his relationships had all come up to the surface. So I heard about everything, and I remember being so confused, and I didn't know what to think about him, especially after what I had just finished feeling, that I really loved him. And so he ended up spending 2 years in jail while I was finishing high school. By the time he got out and I finished high school, I thought I should have everything figured out on what I should think about him. But I remember being just as confused as when he went in. And so time eventually moved on for me again, and I wanted to go and try things in my life, and I took myself out to Vancouver. And I started working and going to school, and I found myself working with high-risk youth. Kids who were in foster homes or in group homes, or sometimes the last house before they had to go to jail. And so that's where I met Dee. Now, Dee had his own life story at this point. His mom passed away when he was younger, and his dad was addicted to really heavy drugs. He couldn't take care of him. And when he came to us, he was 17 years old, and he'd been kicked out of every foster home that he'd been to so far. But when I met him, he was so funny and sweet, and he actually could make us all laugh. But it wasn't a few weeks after meeting him that when he wasn't getting his way, he was so angry, right up in our faces, screaming in rage. And he was breaking down the house around him. I remember one time where he came and he cracked our door right in half, and I had to call the police on him again. So there were so many things that I remember about Dee, but one thing that I really remember is how he would spit. And it just took me back to think about how my dad would spit at people or at things when he got really angry. And so when I started seeing that, I started thinking about how my dad grew up in foster homes and in group homes just like Dee. So I couldn't help but start thinking about my dad and the situations that happened. And so it's been 10 years since I wrote in that journal, and 10 years since everything had happened. And I realized that those feelings that I had of loving him were still true for me. But even though that happened, I realized that I still needed time to heal in the process, because it really, really hurt me. Everything that happened. And so when I started thinking about my dad, and even though I hadn't talked to him in a few years, even now I haven't talked to him, I still have so much peace in my heart, and I feel so much stronger for having gone through it. And so now I share a little bit about this with you guys today in hopes that you can turn whatever's hurting you in your life into something that will make you stronger for when you guys get older as well. And so, appreciate you guys listening. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Yo, my name's Greg, and I'm stupid rich. Yeah, I guess when I was born, I was a baby, and my parents were rich. Yo, doubling up with the 2 microwaves, preheat up here, cook it down here. You know, the world's not meant to be equal. Some people are lions, like what? Frog, right? And some people are just toads, sitting in the swamp. And the lion's gonna eat that toad. I bought little pigs off an emperor. Hey pigs, you wanna do a dibs in your litter box? When you can literally make everyone feel awful because they don't have what you have, that's when you know you've arrived. Yo, so when I duke a deuce, I do it on sparkling water, because that way it's fresh. Yo, check out the fizz. So this is my boy Randall. He does whatever I tell him to do, because he's my bro, and big boss helps my friend. What's up? Is what you need. Yo, 5 G's for this face lotion, bruh. It's made from the tears of baby bald eagles. Kind of stinging my eyes a bit. At the end of your life, you're gonna lay in the hospital bed. You'll be thinking, how much dope stuff did I collect? Right? That's what's gonna matter.
Don't take your life for granted.
Before I get started, I want to say shout out to every single one of you guys for the jerseys right now. That's amazing.
Thanks for the shout out.
Put a hockey stick here too. Beautiful. Anyways, let's get back into it. How many of you guys want to hear a funny story? Put your hand. Okay, I see you in the middle, just like flapping his arms, looking like SpongeBob out there. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. That's not the funny story. That's not the funny story. So, in 2014, I was touring the country, and I remember the last show I was on my home reserve, which is Rosa River First Nation. I was doing a concert, and I was at the end, like the very last song. It's a song that's kind of chill, but by the end of it, I got everybody jumping, man. So it's kind of like everybody jump on 3, 1, 2, 3, jump! All these people are going crazy, man. I felt like an earthquake. Whoa. And then I look at them and I'm like, if they're jumping for me, I should probably jump for that. So here I am jumping as high as I can, but on the 3rd or 4th jump, as I'm trying to reach the moon, right? On the way down, guess what happens though? My pants fell off, man.
Oh my God.
So awkward, man. I went right to the side of the stage and I put on my pants and buckled up. I'm the type of person who always try to stay positive. But sometimes, all of us know in this room that it's hard to stay positive sometimes. See, growing up was really hard. My dad wasn't in my life. My dad was an alcoholic. And my mom, she left me on my grandma's couch when I was 2 weeks old. And she left a note on my stomach. And what that note said was that she couldn't be there to take care of me. And that she was leaving. You know, I always felt like I never fit in my family. I always felt like an outcast. Like it didn't matter. I remember one day I was 8 years old, my grandma knocks on my bedroom. She opens it and she's like, Tyrell, your dad's here. I'm like, my dad's here? What? I never met him before. Why is he here today? She brings me to the back door and she opens it. And it was so bright. And there he was. My dad. He's like, where's your mom? I told him that my mom was at my auntie's house and they were playing cards. So I took him there. And we get to the place. He's walking up the stairs to the door. And as I was behind him by the door, he said, wait here. So I'm looking up, waiting. A couple minutes goes by and we hear this argument. And it was getting louder and louder. And he knew that my dad was so mad at this. He came towards the door and I was getting scared. He kicked it open. And he walked past me like this. This is my dad. It's a part of me loved him. He started walking down this road. And I followed him. And he noticed me. He turned and he said, you can't come where I'm going. Turned and he walked. Turned again, said the same thing. But finally, we got to the end of the road. And this time, he looked at his 8-year-old son. He said, Tyrell, never coming back. He said this to me when I was 8 years old. I remember him walking away. And there was something going on in my chest that I couldn't reach. Something I felt that I'd never done before, never felt. It's my first heartbreak. I went to my grandma's house and I went to the top of the balcony and I was crying. All the windows were open, my family was home, but not one person came outside to see if I was okay. So that broke my heart, that broke me. So knowing that I wasn't gonna find any love at home, I started looking for love in other places. I tried to be a gang member. I tried to be somebody who I wasn't. I got involved in a life of crime. Years goes past and I'm doing bad stuff. There's this rich guy. His name was Kurt. 3-story house. beautiful family in there. Their family had this great man. And I knew that he had so much money, so I wanted to rob him. So I got two of my family members involved, two of my cousins. So I had one guy at the corner of the stop sign, the four-way, and another guy in front of the house. I told them the description of their van, and if they seen it, they would whistle to warn us. And as they're keeping watch, here I am in the backyard with my tools. I get through the door and I search the whole house, and I find the master bedroom. I search it all, but then I get to this dresser. And I go from the bottom drawer to the top. And I open it. And there were Christmas cards that they got from their family and friends over the years. I open it, there's $50 bills and there's these. But we came for the money. So I grabbed it all and I came back outside and I got my guys together. We looked out the backyard, but one of the neighbors saw us. We ended up at a place called the Sunflower Festival where there was rides, food, a place where you could spend your money. We're having a time of our lives, but 11 o'clock comes around and all the shops are closing. Me and my cousin are walking out of the park having a time of our lives, laughing and just enjoying our time. And we both look up, and under the streetlight, on the sidewalk, we see Kurt walking towards us. My heart starts beating so fast because I'm thinking, what if he knows? He comes up to me and he's like, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you know who broke into my house?" And I said, "No." He looked at me in the eyes and he asked me again, "Do you know who broke into my house?" I said, "No." But the second time I said no, I felt sick inside. And I lied to another man. I hurt his family. He said, "If you hear anything by tomorrow lunchtime, let me know. If not, I'm gonna call the cops. And they'll find out who did it." He got up and he walked away. Later that night, I ended up at my grandma's house and I couldn't sleep because I had so many thoughts going through my head. Like, do I have a future? What's gonna happen? I'm going to jail tomorrow. But one thought really hurt me. My younger brother and my younger sister. Who's gonna be there for them if I go to jail because my mom and dad weren't there for us? I had to do something. I finally worked up the courage to call him the next morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. I picked up the phone and it was scary. But he picked up and said, "Kurt, I broke into your house. Sorry it won't happen again. And I'm ready to go to jail." I poured out my heart to him. And it was silent on the phone for a bit. I didn't know what to expect. And his calm voice just said, "I'm not gonna call the cops. I want you to help me." He both said yes. We both said goodbye and hung up the phone. The next day I'm walking to his house. But I'm scared because I'm thinking he's gonna beat me up or yell at me because I robbed him. But as we're working on the shed, I remember his family was in the yard. We're working on the shed and it's like, he started asking me things in my life that nobody's ever asked me before. He showed me something that I have never experienced. He looked past the boy who robbed him for who I could be one day. That's love. It brought me to a place where I want to help young people realize that love can actually change lives. Greatness is not fame. Greatness is not being popular, not rich. It's living a life of passion and leaving a love legacy. I wrote a song about my mom and dad. I had to figure out how to love and forgive again. And I did. So can I perform that last song for you guys? Here we are again, another hopeless sleepless night, thinking well that should be alright. Cause I might be bringing up the past, it's only cause I hit the wall, crash. Completely faking to be fine until I thought of the aftermath. Dear Dad, did you mean it when you said that you loved me? And then he said, trust me. I was supposed to trust someone when they thought it was us. He drank your life away and said you could've took care of us. I had to lie to my brother and sister every time they asked for you, Dad. Did you appreciate? Tell them that you didn't have a plan to come see us. You didn't make an effort, and you're probably the best pretender. That made me mad when you walked away and told me you were never coming back. And I had a heart attack, fighting for most of my life to get your attention. How am I supposed to be a man when I was never taught a lesson?
I keep asking what I do to make you see me like this. I'm deserving, seeker of your love and attention. But I see you past the shame, soaking into, resting in a deeper love and right.
It's easy to leave, even when the person you left, it's like I can't breathe, the passing my breath. Mom, I don't know what you were thinking when you left a note in my stomach, so sudden you weren't cold-blooded. I was only 2 weeks old when you left me on the couch, just a baby alone, with no one else in the house. My grandma told me the story, I was hurt beyond belief. I always asked myself this question, should I leave? I mean, I guess I wasn't meant to live, never even had a voice, I never had nothing to give. I didn't have a choice, but years went by, and I grew up, Mom, but you doubted me from birth, but the survivor proved you wrong. Tears falling rapidly, flowing like rapids, writing in my notebooks, and I seriously can't stand this. Mom, you could have shown love and hope, but I don't even know you to this day. It's sad to say I don't.
And I keep asking what I do to make you see me like this. I'm deserving, seeker of your love and attention. But I see you past the pain, soaking into, resting in a deeper love and right.
As I write this, I'm flipping the pages and moving on, starting on a new page. Inspired through songs, this is dedicated to their hurt, broken and more. Just remember that you're stronger than before the war. The battle through this life isn't always easy to survive, but the victory achieved by the races we're still alive. And I look in the mirror, I see you, Mom and Dad, I'm not a kid no more. Finally alone I can stand, I'm a perfect example of nothing right in front of there with roots spreading all across the globe, helping heal her. With that being said, I got morals to follow while I live, and a call to make a difference, including to forgive. So, Mom and Dad, I'm glad we met when I was older, with a smile every time because you see me getting bolder. I forgive you both, love has been restored. I love you to the fullest, I love you forevermore.
And I keep asking
Everybody put your hands up one day.
I'm deserving,
Community service.
seeker of your love, seeker of love. But I see you past the pain, soaking into, resting in a deeper love and right.
Through all the pain and the hurt I've been through, Mom and Dad, I still love you, and I always will.
I'm always crying, to be honest.
Guys, you have been such an awesome audience. We're so glad that you're here with us and that we can be here with you. As the leader of this team, I just want to acknowledge our team members on and off stage. A lot goes into our presentations and when we go on tour, so I got to give a big ups to them for volunteering their time. But during our presentation, I know we can often talk about some real life stuff, and this can often leave you guys thinking about your own experiences in your own lives. and maybe wanting to share as well. And we really encourage you to do so, whether that's with a family member or a friend or a teacher or counselor at your school, or while we're here and at your school tomorrow, feel free to come pull us aside at any time. We'd love to chat with you. But there's another great resource available for you, and it's called the Kids Help Phone. We have the number up on the screen for you here. You can write it down or put it in your phone. And it's a really great confidential way for students of all ages to reach out to someone they can trust. But whatever it is you choose to do, we just want you to know that you're not alone and there are people that are here for you. If you are interested in any of our programs, maybe you want to find out how you can come on a build, or when you're done high school, come on tour with us. We'd love to share more information. Go check out the back table at the end of the presentation. There are some pamphlets, so you can check out our website as well. But at this time, I want to give a big, huge thank you to our sponsors, DMS Industrial Constructors, Servco, Samantha Mason Foundation, Boston Pizza, and the NABOT conference for having us here today, as well as your teachers and staff and our team members. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you guys so much.
I want to try the pizza.
So we are done with the presentation right now, but we are not done with you guys just yet. We are actually going to be in your school tomorrow. And we have a few things that we'll be doing throughout the day. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're stoked to be able to come spend some more time with you. For now, we're sending you back. Go with your teachers. Have a good day. Thank you very much, everybody.